It is currently the 7th of March, and here we go with the news for today and yesterday. So yeah, sorry I didn't do yesterday as I was physically and mentally drained yesterday. As I'm sure you'll probably be finding out by Sunday, or whatever. As I have spoken about it. Here we go with Article 1, The Telegraph. From The Telegraph. Rival populist rule out coalition together as battle begins over right to govern Italy. Give me a second as my phone is doing all sorts. Rival populist leaders fought on Monday for a right to govern Italy after their surge in a general election that left the country in political limbo. The anti-immigrant League Party and anti-establishment Five Star Movement M5S each claimed Sunday's vote gave them a mandate to lead the nation of 60 million. League leader Matteo Salvini said that he had the right to and the duty to form a government after its surprise success at the heart of the right-wing coalition. But M5S, which won the biggest share of votes of any single party, claimed that it was a winner. Its leader Luigi Di Maio said it has had a responsibility to form a government, with most ballots counted. The League was leading the dominant right-wing coalition, which won roughly 37% of the vote overall. The League by itself was closing in only 18%, ahead of the former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi's Forza Italia Go Italia party, which collapsed to 14%. Salvini's party surged in the polls after promising to shut down Roma camps, reporting hundreds of thousands of migrants to tackle what it called danger of Islam. Italians have chosen to take back control of the country from the insecurity and precariousness put in place by centre-left Democratic Party leader Matteo Renzi Salvini told the press conference. However, much depends on M5S, which has drawn support from Italians fed up with traditional parties and lack of economic opportunity. It won 32% of the vote, but M5S has previously refused to align itself with other parties which it considered part of the corrupt system. But Di Maio said his party now feel the responsibility to form a government. To the end, he said he was open to discussion with all political actors. This election was a triumph for the Five Star Movement. We are the winners, Joyce Di Maio told a news conference on Monday. More than half of voters in some regions have voted for the movement, he added. According to polling ceremony Utrend, the M5S was set to gain 231 seats in the lower house chamber of deputies and 111 in the upper Senate. He could therefore form a majority with either of the League Forza Italia and the Democratic Party (PD). Given its heated rivalry with PD and Berlusconi, MI5's most likely ally looked to the Eurosceptic League. However, Salvini swiftly ruled out the prospect of forming a coalition with M5S. No underlined 3 times. Salvini told reporters. Di Maio responded to Salvini by saying, "We represent the whole nation, from Val d'Aosta to Sicily. Others can't say that." The boost from far-right and populist parties has promoted comparisons to Britain's vote to leave the European Union and the rise of US President Donald Trump. Prominent British pro-Brexit figure Nigel Farage congratulated the Five Star Movement, his allies in the European Parliament, for topping the poll by far Italy's biggest single party. Resentment at the hundreds of thousands of migrant arrivals in Italy in recent years fired up the campaign, along with frustrations about social inequalities. These are historic results. Giancarlo Giorgetti, deputy head of the League, he told reporters in Milan. Alessandro De Battista, another senior five-star leader, said everyone is going to have to come and speak to us. PD leader Renzi looked doomed after his party dropped to 19% of the vote. The populists have won the Democratic Party, and the populists have won, and the Democratic Party has lost. PD lawmaker Andrea Marcucci admitted. Berlusconi, a flamboyant three-time former Prime Minister, is on the ropes after his electoral flop. The billionaire, who won his first election in 1994, has returned to the limelight at the age of 81 despite a career overshadowed by sex scandals and legal woes. He has turned out to be the biggest loser alongside Renzi. The election campaign was marred by clashes between far-right and anti-fascist activists, as well as a racist shooting spree by extreme right sympathisers last month. In the event of a stalemate, President Sergio Mattarella will have the key role of choosing Prime Ministerial nominee. Negotiations on forming a majority could take weeks or even months. The verdict of Italy is always the same. The country is in constant instability, said Claude Tito, columnist of La Repubblica. Being ungovernable has become an epidemic. End of article. I think the next one's from GameSpot about Star Wars Rebels. So spoiler alert. From GameSpot, Star Wars Rebel boss teases what comes next after series finale. Star Wars Rebels may be right over, but if the series finale makes anything clear, is that there is so much more story to tell. While the final episode of the Disney XD series left most of its characters in a way that they could easily be revisited, it's Sabine Tiakar's story that is worthy of an entirely new series. With the city of Lothal safe from the threat of the Empire, Sabine reveals that she and Ahsoka Tano, Ashley Eckstein, are embarking on a new adventure to find Ezra, Tyler Gray. In the climax of the finale, Ezra uses the Progil, essentially space whales, capable of warp speed, to rid the fall of Grand Admiral Thrawn, Lars Mikkelsen, and the Empire's remaining ships. However, in doing so, he was also blasted into space, leaving his friends behind. While his location is unknown, Sabine and Ahsoka finding him and continuing their adventures through the galaxy could make for an exciting new series. At least that's what Scrubs star and superfan Donald Faison told co-creator and executive producer Dave Filoni during a fan screening of the series finale. Obviously it's intriguing. It would probably make a good story. It's a good idea. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Filoni responded. There's so many stories to tell, Donald. I've been so busy, and I've been too busy finishing this story to think of another one. However, Filoni is adamant that if these characters are revisited, it can't just be about the search for Ezra. It's going to be more than that, he says. After all, Star Wars Rebels is a story about a family coming together to fight off evil oppressors. A new series can't be about a single mission. For any sort of time frame on a new series, chances are fans are going to have to wait a while if the story does indeed continue. I have this crazy thing. I have to know what the story is about. Before I tell it. Filoni. To all fans, we'll see. You never know. Time marches on. But while he's being vague about possibly continuing the Rebel storyline, we'd bet good money this isn't the last fans have seen of Sabine, Ezra, Chopper and the rest of the crew. The series ended on such a high note with so many possibilities. To explore the chances of Filoni's spinning a few ideas in his head. After all, Disney is launching its own streaming service in 2019 and already has multiple Star Wars TV shows series in development. While it's believed at least one of the Star Wars shows is in work is live action. There's plenty of room for the studio's new service for another animated extension of the franchise. End of article. From the Mirror, Coronation star Bill Roach utterly heartbroken after daughter Vanya dies aged 50. The actor has been granted indefinite compassionate leave from the sofa as he mourns her loss. After Roach is utterly heartbroken after the death of his eldest daughter Vanya, who died last week aged 50, the Coronation Street actor has taken compassionate leave after losing Vanya, who he had with his first wife, Anna Cropper, on 2nd of March. Sadly, it's the second time he's been forced to mourn a child, while Bill, 85, losing daughter Awinda to pneumonia aged 18 months in 1983. The show bosses have reportedly told him to take as much time away from the cobbles as he needs. Bill is utterly heartbroken. No father should have to go through the loss of a child, let alone two. ITV are giving him all the time he needs, but he's understandably very upset, the source told The Sun. After hearing the news on Friday, he's been told to take as long as required. There's no word yet on when he'll return. Vanya, who lived in Chichester, West Sussex, is survived by her fiancé Toby. Paying tribute online, friend Wendy Elizabeth Vick changed her profile picture to one of her late friend, writing, "My beautiful, perfect, wonderful best friend and soulmate, forever in my heart." Vanya supported her father through his rape and sex assault trial in 2014, celebrating his innocence on Facebook. "My beautiful family, wonderful father, and a very happy and truthful day," she wrote. The star has played Ken Barlow in the soap for more than 50 years, making his first appearance on December 9th, 1960. While on screen, his love life had been infamously chaotic. Bill enjoyed a long second marriage to Sarah Mottram before her sudden death in 2009, aged just 58. The pair, who had Edwina, daughter Verity, and son William after marrying in 1978, had been chatting in bed at their home in Wilmslow, Cheshire, when she suddenly collapsed and died. "Sarah was bright-eyed with it ahead of the game, and she did everything for me. She was one of those people who was going to live to 120 and then suddenly woo," she said back in 2010. "There was no ailment, no stroke, no heart attack, no blood clot, nothing like that. There was a structural failure, no disease. There was no structural failure, no disease, nothing wrong other than the electrical impulse in her heart had stopped. And they didn't know why, she just went. It was so sudden, and in a way I'm grateful for that. There was no illness, no lingering pain. It was a beautiful way to go. Just not yet, it was too soon." When it comes to his own aging, he recently revealed he believes he is actually getting younger, insisting the human body is designed to go on and forever. "Ken Barlow is me, he's getting older, but I'm getting older with him. Though I've now decided I'm actually getting younger," he told the Radio Times. A few years ago I made the decision that I was going to start getting younger. It's a belief system really. A lot of people think that they've gotten an ache or pain. It must be age. It's nothing to do with age. Age has no ailment attached to it. Your cells renew themselves equally all the time. If you've got an ailment, it's probably because you've been eating the wrong stuff or living the wrong life. The body is actually designed to go on forever. After the death of Sarah, he joined the Pure Love movement and penned a book about his spiritual beliefs. The group meets for regular sessions in a circle of love meditating, talking, taking part in an alternative Reiki healing session, and discussing the mysteries of the spiritual world, and a charge of £5 per person. Bill's devotion to spiritualism became so great that it led to the breakup of his last relationship with TV weather girl Emma Jessen, 44, in 2013. Bill's spiritual beliefs became more of a priority last year. Emma said at the time, he wants that to be his path now and accept that he needs to be at peace with himself. Circle of Love founder Anne Rogers, 71, described the group's message as simply 100% just love. She added, "It's not a religion, it's not a cult. The message is too simple, it's hard to perceive." Bill once credited his beliefs with helping him and Sarah heal after the shocking death of Edwina in 1984. It was Sarah who found the taut, lifeless body in her cot, and that had a person screamed as she realised the baby had gone. "It was such a shock. I'd never known grief to be such a physical pain. We were both numb to begin with. We couldn't talk or eat, and were surviving on hot chocolate. I couldn't speak on the phone without crying," Bill said. "I honestly didn't know how I was going to cope with the funeral." However, he has a psychic vision of his daughter telling him not to worry. "I can see it now. It was absolutely amazing. It was like a glory of gold with a little child's face, and with it came a wonderful sense of peace and tranquility. I told Sarah and she said she felt stronger," he said. End of article. End of part 1. Part 2. First one's from The Guardian and is the first of today's. Russia suspected of using dumb bomb to shift blame for Syria war. UN sources says Moscow's use of weapons similar to those used by Syrian regime could be attempt to mask involvement in airstrikes. The Russian Air Force has used unguided dumb bombs in Syria, in what UN sources say could be an effort to shift responsibility for possible war crimes and civilian deaths to their ally, the Syrian regime of Bashar al-Assad. UN sources told The Guardian that Moscow's use of less accurate bombs, which are closer in their capabilities to the Syrian Air Force's weapons stockpiles, could be intended to make it more difficult for war crime investigators to identify those responsible for civilian deaths from airstrikes in Syria. There seems to be a concert effort from very similar weaponry used by the Syrian and Russian Air Forces, said one UN official. Since the Syrian Air Force is using older planes and with pilots untrained in smart weapons capability, Russia would use less smart weapons capabilities. I suspect that they want to use those weapons because it makes attribution more difficult. The allegation raised further doubts about Russia's claims that its aerial campaign in Syria, which was launched in late 2015 in an effort to shore up Assad's position, in which has reserved his fortunes in the 7-year war, primarily targeted militants and terrorists. It also raises questions about the civilian cost of Russia's airstrikes, which played a key role in the regime's victory late in 2016 in Aleppo after replenishing siege and aerial bombardment, and about the offensive in the enclave of Russian eastern Ghouta near Damascus, which has killed more than 700 people in 2 weeks. Moscow has been accused by weapons experts of using inaccurate munitions in the past in its campaign, but those accusations were focused in the motivation that such weapons were likely to be cheaper than precision-guided missiles. The claim that these tactics might be meant to elude war crimes investigators has not been made before. The assessment is not shared by UN officials working on Syria, or UN officials say the use of inaccurate bombs could be a tactic aimed at scarring civilians who might pressure rebel groups to surrender. My personal sense regarding the use of such weapons in Syria has been that they are used to create panic, terrorise the civilian population, and with the ultimate aim of making it turn against armed groups and operating within these communities, said one official. The allegations came at the same day as the release of a report by the UN's International Independent Commission of Inquiry on Syria, which identified attack in the town near Aleppo, which used unguided munitions to devastating effect. The Commission had both accused Russia and the Syrian government of using unguided weapons in the past, particularly during the siege of Aleppo, which it said had relied almost exclusively on such munitions. An attack on Atarib on the afternoon of the 13th of November 2017 took place at a crowded market with a series of airstrikes that damaged or destroyed the area of approximately 5,000 square meters and killed at least 84 people. At the time, Moscow denied launching airstrikes in the area, but radio intercepts identified Russian-speaking pilots who took off half an hour earlier from Hmeimim Air Base, the main stronghold for Russian forces in western Syria. The Commission's investigation said the attack detailed in an annex in the report said that 2 types of weapons were used: blast weapons and earth penetrators. Based on video and images from the site, including of an unexploded bomb, investigators said the weapons were used: the unguided with AB-500 fragmentation bomb, which is manufactured by Russia, and the BTAB TAB-500 unguided bunker buster bomb, which the Russian Air Force have used multiple times since Aleppo. The impact points show that unguided bombs roughly fell in a line with a 250 meter dispersion, which suggested that the aircraft lined up on the target, dropping weapons into the area that formed a target box rather than conducting a precision strike against a point target, the report said. The Commission's report did not speculate on the reasons why Russia used less precise weapons, and said the target of the strike could have been a meeting involving Al-Qaeda-linked militants, but the Russians denial of the airstrike, coupled with the use of Russian-made unguided bombs, lends credence to the allegations that Moscow sought to obfuscate its involvement in airstrikes near a crowded market that would probably cause heavy civilian casualties. There is no evidence to indicate this is a attack delivered to target civilians or Atarib market, the report concluded, though the use of unguided bombs, including blast weapons, is in a densely civilian populated area. However, this attack may amount to the war crime of launching indiscriminate attacks, resulting in the death and injury to civilians. The Commission's report, which covered the period from July last year to mid-January, also said it would help victims of crimes in the Syrian war pursue justice through national and international jurisdictions in the future. The possibility of prosecuting war crimes and crimes against humanity in Syria by the International Criminal Court has so far been stemmed by the threat of a Russian veto. The ICC can only investigate cases if they are referred to it by the UN Security Council or by a country voluntarily joining the organisation. The Commission also documented the chemical attack against the rebel fighters in eastern Ghouta in November 2017 and condemned both the ongoing siege and the retaliatory shelling of Damascus by rebel groups. End of article. From Android Police. Polygon. Jurassic World Alive with Pokemon Go but with dinosaurs. One of the most scariest thing I've probably ever heard of. Just my opinion though. Coming to mobile this spring. Monster hunting of Pokemon Go meets dinosaurs in Jurassic World Alive, new augmented reality location-based game for Android and iOS, which in this spring developed by Ludia, which has previously worked on Jurassic World the game and Jurassic Park World. The Jurassic World Alive it will let players track and collect and do battles with dinosaurs. Jurassic World Alive puts players in the role of new recruits on the Dinosaur Protection Group, DPG. Players are tasked with saving dinosaurs from another extinction by tracking them, collecting DNA samples and creating new hybrid species in a lab. Those man-made dinos can be assembled into a team and fight in player versus player arena battles, which kind of seems counterproductive to the whole dinosaur protection thing. In a press release, Universal and Ludia said players will track their Jurassic prey with a drone and must track down supply drops in-game to earn in-game currency and battery life for that drone. Universal and Ludia are currently accepting registration for Jurassic World Alive on the game's official website. Jurassic World Alive joins park simulation game Jurassic World Evolution and a trio of Jurassic World themed tables for Zen Pinball on the list of tie-in games hitting alongside the next film in the franchise, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. End of article. They're probably milking it with all this Jurassic Park, Jurassic World films now. End of part. Here we go with part 3. Gary with BBC News UK on Twitter. Gary Oldman's son defends father over abuse allegations. Darren McKee laughed on school run after killing a wife. This event poses a low risk to public. Professor Dame Sally Davis, Chief Medical Officer on Russian spy investigation. Nerve agent used to kill ex-Russian spy. Save the Children failed to deal with woman's complaints. Girl who sabotaged her own wedding. Let's see how the girl who stopped her own marriage. On the morning of any wedding, there is lots of preparation. On November the 4th, Monica's hair needed doing and her makeup had to be artfully applied. The bride needed to maroon wedding sari put on as tradition dictates. The jewelry set aside for this special day had to be placed on her ears, nose and draped across her neck. For this Indian wedding, her hands needed to be dabbed with incarnate swirls of henna too. There was so much to do, but with only a couple of hours to go of the ceremony, no one noticed the bride herself quietly slipped into the shadows. of the family home to make one last phone call. It was not a friend or a caterer or a wedding venue to check everything was going smoothly. Instead, Monica dialed the 4 digits 1098, the number of a helpline. Too young to marry under Indian law, Monica wanted to stop her own wedding. She was 13 when her marriage was meant to be happening. That's according to the charity that helped her, and comes from her school records. Her parents claim she was more like 17. It's common in this part of India for those ages of some people to be a little hazy. Birth certificates often don't exist for poor families like Monica's. What is no doubt that she is still a child, and the law only allows marriage at 18. It was September last year when her father Ganesh rose at dawn for an important mission. He left through the mixing metal gate of a whitewashed wall at the front of a modest house in a poor suburb of Bikaner, Rajasthan. The city may not be as well known as a tourist location as Jaipur or Jodhpur, but it is still one of those places which sales every sense. Ganesh passed grocery stores piled high with rainbow vegetables, enjoyed the piercing horns of tuk-tuks hurtling through the streets, and the smell of fresh camel dung on the roadside. On his return later that evening, he and Monica's mother Sita sat the daughter down and told her that they had found her someone to marry. Mummy and Papa told me they'd found a boy for me in Truro, 115 miles away, and that he was very nice and educated and worked as a labourer. Because Monica felt I was too young and that I shouldn't marry. I wanted to get an education. I wanted to become a teacher. When I asked her to describe her husband to be, she says simply without any drama and emotion that she had never met him, but her parents did show her a photograph. He was 22. As an obedient daughter, her first instinct was to do as her parents wished, but her emotions were in turmoil. I felt I was too young and that I shouldn't marry. I wanted to get an education and become a teacher. Monica pleaded with her parents. I told them that I didn't want to get married, and they asked me why, so I explained that as a girl should be at least 18 years old. Marriage would have meant a life of isolation. His prospective husband lived a 4-hour train journey away from our own family. After getting married, life would have been spent only in this new home. Nobody would have allowed me to play or talk, or I would have had to take care, and I would have had to take care of the household chores. My in-laws would have made me do a lot of work and only work. So why did Monica's parents think it was alright to marry off their daughter so young? As we sit and drink our tea in a small, simply tiled courtyard of our home, it's clear Ganesh and Sita are loving parents to their 5 daughters. But life is a struggle. Ganesh earns 500 rupees a day, which is £5.5, and his work is sporadic. His bike is propped against the yard wall, ready for a job if a job suddenly comes. The family is from the Valmiki or sweeper caste. In the past, that would have meant they were classed as the untouchables of Indian society. Even today, they are very much on the fringes of the local community, and they only mix with other families from the same caste. Monica's mother and grandmother will clear waste from the houses in the neighbourhood, as is often the case with families from this background. The older daughters have only received little education. Indeed, when I ask Monica how many school friends she has, she replies matter-of-factly that she doesn't have any. Her studies seem to have petered out. It sounds like solitary existence for a teenager. stacked in a corner of one of the rooms of the courtyard in a pile of furniture. It includes a sturdy chest with a lock, and in a brand new fridge. It is original packing. This is puzzling as the house doesn't appear to have a working fridge of its own. The jealousy guarded hoard is Monica's dowry. Monica's dowry, painstakingly saved up by her father. For the day she marries, Ganesh sees his prime responsibility as getting his daughter married and settled down. His eldest daughter, Rajini, was to marry legally in November, her groom and a brother, and Monica's family thought it made sense to have a double wedding. We thought that if we married two daughters at the same time, then the cost would only be for one wedding and not two, he explains her father. We are a family of labourers, and sometimes I get jobs in construction work, but sometimes I don't. I thought since we are marrying our one child, we will marry another one and save on the expenses. And what they had planned for Monica was illegal under Indian law. Ganesh looked awkwardly with his hands. We didn't know it was a criminal offence. We did feel bad. For Sita, though, it's as if their circumstances didn't leave her much choice. What should we do, she says, as she shrugs her shoulders. The marriage was also arranged with Monica's personal safety in mind, Sita argues. When we go out for work, we worry about leaving our daughter alone at home, as the neighbourhood where we live is unsafe. It was out of fear for her security, and that we thought that we were married off both sisters together. A kind of multiple marriages are common in Rajasthan. Often only the oldest girl's name is mentioned on the invitation. It makes it much harder for the authorities to detect the child marriage when there is the cover of perfectly legal marriage happening simultaneously. But in Monica's case, the authorities received a tip-off, and it came from the bride herself, stopping the marriage. As Monica sits alongside her parents, she recounts her story. She seems to hear them no ill will, but last year as the wedding drew nearer, it must have been a time of immense tension. She does not appear to be a natural teenage rebel, and her shy mannerisms suggest a girl who was still finding her own voice in the world, yet somewhere within she found the strength to kick back against the plans her family had made. The trigger point for Monica came on the wedding day. When I saw my wedding dress, sister wearing her wedding dress, I realised that she could do this, I couldn't. Her gut feeling drove her to call the national hotline, Childline. Monica had seen the easy to remember number 1098 in books. She borrowed a phone from her unwitting grandmother and rang the wedding, which was then only hours away. She was afraid, but this was her last resort. I called up. I don't know who picked up the phone, but I told them everything, that I was young and don't want to get married and want to study further. I asked them, can you please do something to stop this marriage? The helpline operator in Delhi tried to calm down, then they took details of her location and the time of the wedding. The message Monica recalls was, don't worry, we're on our way. That's where 31-year-old Preti Yadwar comes in. Her charity, the Ormil Trust, handles cases referred by Childline in the Bakana area. Preti is used to answering calls at all times of day and night. She's often in a race against the time to save young girls from becoming child brides and can be seen zipping around town in her small white moped. We had a tricky challenge as we had to save a child in just 3 hours time, Preti says. Over the phone she managed to win Monica's trust and talk her through what would happen next. Local police were scrambled and arrived at Monica's house at about 1700 hours. The officers asked to see the paperwork, of which there was little, and after establishing that the bride was underage, they warned everyone at the that the wedding could not take place. But the family ignored the police, and at 8 o'clock, Monica rang Pretty again. Her parents had changed the wedding venue due to her grandmother's house, and still trying to marry her off. This was a change of venue to hide a wedding, explains Pretty. So we again contacted the police department, myself, a female constable, and 2 male police officers. We reached a new venue at 10 o'clock. It was just in the nick of time. Monica was in her wedding dress, and when she saw us, she gave a little smile, although she didn't say anything at that time. She knew that we had come to stop her wedding. She was happy then. The rest of the wedding party were amused. There were relatives all around who were asking each other in low murmurs about why the police had arrived. No one knew who had reported the wedding to the police. It was only now that Monica was happy for it to be known that she made a mystery call. The next task for Pretty was to make sure the parents understood the gravity of the situation. We called Monica's parents and grandparents into the room and explained that not only does this child suffer because of early marriage, but they too could also face punishment for this offence. So they stopped the wedding, and the police took written testimony from them, promising they would not marry her off before the age of 18. They warned if they went ahead with a second time, they would have to serve a prison sentence. Pretty has been seen between 20 and 25 cases of child marriage causing their death since the beginning of January this year. The winter months are particularly part of the traditional marriage season in Rajasthan. Child marriages was banned in India in 2006, but is still widespread. With its huge population, India remains a country of the most child brides, according to UNICEF. Pretty sees herself as a big sister figure for girls like Monica, who admits to immense job satisfaction in my career. In my career, I've stopped several weddings, and when I come into direct contact with these girls, we often stay in touch forever. I feel real pride that I am able to help them salvage their lives and protect their futures. It makes me feel happy. Persuading the villagers. It's midday in the village of Usangzar, in the middle of the far desert in Rajasthan. All around those sand dunes reflect the sun, dazzling the unprepared visitor. Some of the houses here are just simple wooden huts with posh-looking thatching on top. Local children crowd round a tap on the wall of a schoolhouse, cupping their hands and dipping their heads to slurp the water. Inside a girls' school, I ask pupils whether they know any friends who have been married young. They turn in unison to point to one of their number, who say she was married at age 10. Her name is Pooja. She's dressed demurely in a camel-coloured tunic and wearing a beaded braid necklace. As with Monica, there's a slight confusion over Pooja's real age. She is in the school year for 14 to 15-year-olds, though she tells me she's a couple of years older. At first, like any self-conscious teenager, Pooja seems a little intimidating by the sea of faces. Turned eagerly to hear a story, but after a nod of encouragement from a teacher, she visibly relaxes and starts to talk. My name is Pooja, and my child marriage happened just 3 years ago. I'm still studying. I don't want to go to my in-laws' place. I want to study more. Pooja's parents had agreed to delay going at the moment where the bride is sent to live with her husband's family, and the time where she is expected to have sex. This way, Pooja at least gets to have some schooling and doesn't suffer from physical complications of early pregnancy. Even so, the message Pooja has had at school in the early morning is wrong. Our teachers say a girl should be at least 18 and a boy at least 21 when they wed. And when she says something that sounds more like a heart from the when from a textbook. Girls should be educated. I want to say this is to all villagers. Don't get underage girls married. Don't ruin a life. If someone does that, forcefully call Childline on 1098. This will stop child marriages. Outside, a crowd of 300 gathered. They are sitting under a huge awning in the middle of a standing school playground. Most of them are either children in their uniforms or from local schoolboys youth club, but the older generation are represented too. Mothers and grandmothers in their diaphanous pink veils, and old men in turbans with deep lines etched on their faces. Word goes round that the performance is about to start. They're all here to see a puppet show staged by the Urmel Trust. The storyline is simple. A young girl named Godke is told by her father that she is to marry off early. Her mother protests because she wants her daughter to have the time to play and develop as a teenager. She pleads with her father to reconsider. He insists, however, so Godke marries and goes to live with her new family. When the father later pays a visit to the in-laws' house, he discovers his daughter died in childbirth. It may only be a puppet show, but many of those in the audience were weeping. Watching from the sidelines is Arvind Ojha, the avuncular figure who leads the Urmil Trust. Look how totally involved everyone is, he gestures to the spellbound audience. With the involvement comes a transformation. We don't just focus on engaging women and children in these programs, but the older people and religious leaders. Using folk media is very effective. He's been working in Western Rajasthan since 1986. The state has one of the worst child marriage rates in India. Only Bihar and West Bengal, and behind Bihar and West Bengal. According to the National Family Health Survey, 35% of young Rajasthani women are married off before the age of 18, and a national average of 27%, but Ojha is sure that things are improving, mainly because of the way villages are gradually embracing girls' education. I'm going to say end of part 1, I'll be back for part 2, so end of part 3. Part 4. Finishing off with the article from part 1, not part 1, part 3. Changes happening. The average age of marriage for girls is increasing. It used to be around 10-11 years old, but now it's risen to 14-15. Even so, the law says it should be 18 years, so we're not there yet. Before the puppet show audience breaks up for lunch, there's an poignant moment where all present, including Pooja and her friends, rise to their feet and raise an arm. The entire village of Huangsar is taking an oath to observe the law and make their community a child-free, marriage-free zone from now on. In the surrounding districts, 178 villages haven't taken this same oath. Our next stop is the village of Lukansar. A girls' boarding school is also in the far desert. It is a collection of low white buildings with a few Indian lilacs on neem trees, providing shade in the centre. Here a group of schoolgirls are singing and clapping as they sit on wooden benches. 2 or 3 have even got to their feet and are dancing with all the punches of Bollywood film stars. A female young woman named Radhika Swami runs a music session. Now in her early 20s, she became something of an activist on child marriages after she was told she would marry age 17. Radhika's story has some parallels to Monika's. My parents wanted me to get married when my 2 elder sisters were getting married. I was scared. I decided I didn't want the wedding. I wanted to study and accomplish my dreams and live a life of personal freedom, so I refused to marry. Both Radhika's mother and her grandmother had been childbrides, so this was not a custom easily broken. But through the sheer force of her personality, Radhika persuaded her parents and grandfather to keep her education and to break off the engagement. Now she works as a warden at the school campus, teaching other girls about the importance of sticking with their studies. Through music and drama, Radhika tries to raise awareness. She has written a play on the subject of female feticide, the selective abortion of girls in the womb. Although it is supposed to be illegal in India, it is widely practiced in states such as Rajasthan. In 2011, Rajasthan had 880 girls for every 1,000 boys below the age of 6. This skewed sex ratio leading to a shortage of girls of marriageable age, which in turn fuels for demand for child brides. Radhika assures much more needs to be done to involve boys in prevention work. Communities can take time in listening to what girls are saying. What's with boys, they are always heard instantly, so if we work with both sexes, then we'll get 100% results. A global problem: across the world, 20 million girls every year married before the age of 18. That's 1 in every 5, according to children's charity UNICEF. A decade ago, that figure was 1 in 4, but new analysis from UNICEF suggests there have been significant progress in recent years, particularly in South Asia. In fact, in the past decade, a girl in South Asia has seen her risk of being married off early dropped from 50 to 30%. India is one of those countries in which has led the way. Campaigners say this success now needs to be copied in sub-Saharan Africa. Nigeria, for example, remains the country with the highest overall rate, 76% of child marriage in the world. It's only a problem in the developing world. Child marriage even persists in some communities in Europe and North America. The marriageable age in many European countries is 16 with parental consent. There is a number of reasons for the practice. In cases like Monica's, poverty is key, but campaigners say it's primarily an issue of gender inequality. There are a number of reasons for the practice in cases like Monica's. Poverty is key, but campaigners say it is primarily an issue of gender equality. Fundamentally, it happens to be girls because they are seen as being less valuable than boys, says Lakshmi Sundaram from Girls Not Brides, a global partnership of more than 900 civil society organisations. Girls not get given the same opportunities as boys, so if a family only has money to send one child to school, they will send the boy and not the girl. If they only have enough food to feed a certain number of children, they'll marry off the girls so they can consolidate their resources. Global statistics suggest it is most common in rural areas, and child brides are more likely to have low levels of education, according to Sundaram. Schools are one of the best forms of protection. When a girl is in school, there's a feeling of a whole community that there is a student and a child who should be allowed to stay on that trajectory and finish her studies. But soon as she comes out of school, she is then seen as a future wife and mother. So families often think, why don't we just hurry it up? What are we waiting for? Many countries have laws which set the minimum age of marriage at 18, but is often allowed to get low with parental consent or the judgment of a court. Campaigners say one of the best strategies is involve religious leaders or tribal elders in the campaign to end child marriage. Once these figures of authorities are on board, public opinion in the wider community can change very quickly. Some communities have started offering cash handouts for families if they agree to leave their daughters in school. Technology can be useful as well. One charity, Vikalp Sansvan, uses phone notifications to warn wedding photographers and make artists that their involvement in any underage nuptials will result in legal action. Above all, a better sense of the cost of child marriage is now emerging. This includes not only physical problems of domestic violence and early pregnancy, but the mental toll it takes on young brides too. There could be an economic dividend of lower population growth and more girls completing their education, staying healthy and getting better jobs. Whilst it's good news that child marriage cases are falling across the world, Sundaram is adamant there's no room for complacency. The rates of child marriage are declining because of population growth. The actual numbers of child brides continues to increase. So we have to accelerate progress of those numbers are to come down more drastically in the future. Monika's future. There's commotion outside Monica's house as word spreads around this neighbourhood that the BBC has come from London to interview her. Is this about her wedding that was called up? A noisy neighbour asks our translator. That alone gives you the sense of how big a deal it was for a young girl to report to her parents. In a strange way, you can see Monica's mother is actually proud of what her daughter did. Yes, I feel good about it, admits Sita. I really rather like the idea that my daughter has done it. Change has to come for all. But for her part, Monica is certain she did the right thing and wants her story told. I am glad that my experiences will be shared with others. Maybe some other girl will learn from my case and she too can stop her child marriage. And if she can't stop it, then I will even help her out myself. So, what is so striking about Rajasthan is how girls like Monica are taking the fight against child marriage into their own hands. In a culture where their voices are often not heard, education these girls receive, where it's often limited, is teaching them that they should not be married off before 18. It feels inconceivable that 10 or 20 years ago, the kind of bottom-up resistance would have existed in poor urban areas or remote desert villages. Back then, girls would have been more pliant in accepting their fate as what was seen as a patriarchal society. Now seems like there's a prospect of real change. Not everything's perfect for Monica. She tells us wistfully she would like to return to school, something the Ormel Trust is trying to arrange, but as she sits with her new friend, Pretty, on the porch of the family house, watching the world go by, in the evening twilight, it is easy to see how just young she is, and what a lucky escape she's had. Childhood was nearly lost. Now, through an act of teenager rebellion, her childhood has been regained. End of article. Sorry it was so long. But here we go. Fire leaves 12 stranded at the top of Blackpool Tower. Draft guidelines from EU display big gaps between the two sides. German police have detained Sir Mo Farah, was a victim of racial harassment in Munich airport. Police say lorry driver Reinhard Mazurek, convicted of dangerous driving charges for killing 8 people on M1, has had his driving licence revoked prior to collision. M1 death crash truck David Wagstaff cleared of charge. Britain first leader and deputy leader guilty of hate crimes. Doesn't surprise me. Health to start failing at 47 parts of Blackpool and Middlesbrough. Alfie Dingley, ex-minister, backs cannabis plea boy. New Look cuts 1,000 jobs at 60 store close. Case against toilet strike drug suspect dropped. Will PM use meeting with Saudi Crown Prince to hold arms supply to Saudi Arabia to demand immediate ceasefire in Yemen? Parson Green, 2 bombing designed to cause carnage. Secretary Amber Rudd says we'll do know more about the substance and suspecting of poisoning of Sergei Skripal and his daughter. Police will make a statement later. 2 million households to get big fees payments. Double Olympic gold medalist Nicola Adams has been turned into a Barbie doll ahead of International Women's Day. Girl 6 died after doctor failed to spot meningitis. Former England Rugby League player sparks a 150-mile-per-hour police chase before crashing into households and was then stunned 6 times with a taser, which he grabbed and pointed at an officer's face. Storm Ella, Welsh water supply is restored to most homes. Family want answers over death in snow and on wind farm. Burst pipe floods South London High Street. Would probably put the charger into my camera as it's about to run out of charge. Here we go with part 5. Quickly, as I still have bits to do. Unlikely ally, red squirrel numbers boost in an area where predator pine marten thrives. Cars book falling CO2 emission trends. 5 patients made 8,303 emergency calls in a year. What are they doing and why are they still out there? EU trade must include financial service, says Hammond. Concert tickets resellers ordered to disclose fees. Smart device security headlines need more teeth. US President Donald Trump top economic advisor Gary Cohn to resign. Investigator targeted politicians for Sunday Times stories. Spanish tourist dead after London hotel gas leak. At full time, won Liverpool draw against Porto. Donald Trump says trade wars aren't so bad when US has a trade deficit with many other countries. Frosted jail for 37 million copycat web scam. Retired doctor caught with 3 submachine guns at home. What was that doctor doing? Mo Farah, Olympic champion, says he was basically arrested at German airport. Grand falsifier sentenced after drug factory found in flat. Rugby player Scott Moore jailed after high-speed chase and assault on police. Restaurant owner dubbed a hero after live tweeting updates on where to find water after freezing pipes burst. Pep Guardiola says Man City are many years away from being the same level as former club Barcelona. Nicola Sturgeon calls on Mark McDonald to quit MSP. Leicester shop explosion, police make 7th arrest. Peterborough City Hospital, doctor interviews over death. Packing industry in England accused of exaggerating amounts of plastic that gets recycled. Government urged to ditch photo ID at polling stations trial. Yosemite Park rockfall, climber died protecting wife. Oh. He had to go out to the wife who lost her husband as he was trying to save her. Alfie Evans' decision to remove life support upheld by judge. A senior Russian MP has described British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson warning to Russia over the collapse of former spy Sergei Skripal is as unacceptable. Interfax news agency reports. A woman has been found stabbed to death at her home in London after the bodies of her husband and two sons were discovered at a seafront in Essex. Snowed-in Cumbrian villagers forced to walk through 12-foot snowdrifts for help. Russian military plane crashes in Syria, killing 26 passengers and 6 crewmen, members defense ministry says. Lucian Dinsey jailed for life over hammer murder. Cornwall mother found guilty of poisoning her baby with salt. Vauxhall chief warns of Brexit threat over Ellesmere Port. Oldest message in a bottle found on beach in Western Australia. It's almost 137 years old. Father calls for safety railings after Manchester Canal death. Ex-co-op bank boss Paul Flowers banned after sex and drugs emails. Missing teenager and man injured after being found by police. Monroe Bergdorf, Labour LGBT advisor, quits over online abuse. GKN takeover bid by Melrose should be blocked, MP says. A surprising new afterlife for chewing gum, as few souls as it looked like. Congratulations, Kyle Edmonds, British tennis as the new number 1. It's a position Andy Murray has held since 2006. Thousands still worry about water after UK's big freeze. A former Russian double agent fights for his life in a UK hospital. Today's Russian papers quote Vladimir Putin thanking the FSB for uncovering 397 spies. The Kremlin leader met senior FSB staff yesterday. University offers fully fledged science degrees online for £5,650. Present violence and gangs targeted by Justice Secretary. Secondary school staff suffers work attacks. Porn check critics fear data breach. Trampoline parks regulation calls after injuries increase. And BBC News UK and end of part 5, I think it is now. And here we go with BBC News World for the past 2 days. Conviction no return for man electrocuted by Texas judge. France Labour firms to be fined over gender pay gap. Marjorie Stone Douglas win sympathy plays Carnage Hall. US metal tariffs, Mexico and Canada may be exempt, White House says. Argentina's baby theft general Reynaldo Bignona dies. Snowboarders headcam captures an avalanche escape. Syria war, fighting rages in eastern Ghouta as UN deliberates. Transgender star attacks home country. Cape Town drought, South African city may hold day 0. German far-right terror group members jailed for attacks. Kosovo-Serbia row, make sure clocks go slow. Indonesia sue condemned over smoking orangutan. Google Text used Pentagon to analyze drone videos. Sri Lanka police and writers clash in Kandy. Mother's Day, the Belgian nursery, school ditching traditional celebrations. Killed Salvadorian Archbishop Romeo has to be made a saint. Mississippi lawmakers approve earliest US abortion ban. Mario Balotelli condemns Italy's first black senator. South Korea to take message to Kim to US. From Kim to US. Belgian sexism law, man who insults officer to be convicted. Brexit EU Parliament sets out stance on future UK relations. There's been a deadly helicopter crash in Chechnya. Chechnya. I don't usually say it every day, so I don't really know how to say it. South African triathlete Mlenge Gwala in hospital after attack with sore. Coca-Cola plans Japan foray into alcohol. Terminal illness led to Australia's first same-sex marriage. BlackBerry sues Facebook to write over app patents. Fire Festival co-founder Billy McFarland admits fraud. Tomb Raider saga is all very positive because of feminist movement. US man admits murder of Indian migrant. Kansas man admits murder of Indian worker. Stormy Daniels sues Trump over hush agreement. One of the best campaigners in international cricket, insider in mind of India's greatest, Sourav Ganguly. Russia MP, I'm going to feel people up. Well, okay, just a little. That's big. On Thursday, it'll be 4 years since Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 disappeared. With the mystery still unsolved, some relatives of passengers have criticised plans for a memorial in Australia. Australia and East Timor signs historic maritime border deal. Weinstein Company rescue deal collapses. Lessons delivered by taxi, truck and boat. Making boots from hippopotamus and ostrich. Haunted by nightmares of working for US Border Patrol. North Korea used VX nerve agents to kill leader's brother, says US. Washington DC dumps homeless people's belongings. Canadian man pleads guilty to US terrorism charges. Albert Einstein saying young female scientist sells at auction. Gary Cohen keeps from economic policy aid, resigns. Trump tariffs. President says EU making business impossible. Michelle Obama dances with Parker, the portrait girl. Rex Tillerson slams China's relationship with Africa. Portugal stole Francis McDormand's Oscar statues and brags while it's on social media. The one thing not to do if you don't want to get caught. Argentina abortion referendum on the table, government says. Digging for a son in eastern Ghouta. Lost World War II aircraft carrier USS Lexington found after 76 years off the coast of Australia. Crowd catches little girl from ski lift fall. Aww. Florentina has retired the shirt number worn by David Astori. His former club Cagliari have done the same. Ran the church closures, pastors arrested for defying order, leaders from North Korea, China, Uganda, Russia, Iraq, Cuba and Syria, advice for dictators who want to stay in power. Their blood is in your hands. Trump slumps for Forbes billionaires list. RuPaul called the trans community heroes for our shared LGBTQ movement in his apology. Super Monster Wolf for success in Japan farming trials. France to fix legal age of consensual sexual consent as 15. Florida shooting, state lawmakers pass gun control measures. World's largest male northern white rhinos in Sudan improves slightly. Hong Kong tiger scare after feline sighting. They're showing like a small cat, like domestic cat and a tiger in this, and the cat they're showing is nothing like the tiger. Syria, chlorine attack is besieged eastern Ghouta. Sri Lanka violence, state of emergency, declare war over attack. New Zealand consensus campaigning take on his TARDIS. Life of Pi actor has rare disease. Kobe Steel chief Hiroya Kawasaki quits after data scandal. Yusuf 14 aims to be the first US Muslim president. Rohingya crisis, UN envoy says ethnic cleansing continues. Emma Watson joke says she needs a tattoo proofreader. Top South Korean politician resigns over rape. Panama hotel removes Trump branding after court battle. Afrin, what is going on in series of the battle? Child marriage numbers falling, says UNICEF. Are you one of a WeChat billion? North Korean Kim Jong-un says he wants to write a new history for national reunification with South Korea, states media reports. India's Bangalore deemed to be next Cape Town. Fancy charging up your electric car in 10 minutes. A different portrait of black fatherhood. Should China's Xi Jinping be president for life? Macy's is the face of change. NFL wowed by one-handed player Shaquem Griffin. Replanted tree planted by George Washington told after winter storm. And okay, this is where it all ends, so yeah. End of part 6, end of video. Glad we got there eventually.